doesn't need another life coach. In fact, there's too many life coaches. There are coaches that are coaching everybody and about everything, and they're not focused. Right now, the market is, I would say, very saturated with people, just handing out generic stuff, generic advice. What parents, what schools, what teenagers, and leaders that are, in fields that are associated with parents, with school management teams, with students, and that are desperately looking for right now uh, are experts and leaders when it comes to human behavior, especially in young minds and teenage minds, right? There's a shortage of those kind of people because there's a huge gap in the market right now for kids, working with young kids, teenagers, and youth. In fact, there's very alarming and frightening statistic from the World Economic Forum that actually says one in every four kids, that's 25%, have some kind of mental mental health issue. And that 25%, in fact, 79% have some kind of mental health issue, and 25% actually have contemplated suicide, and they've been through depression and stuff. So what the stats tell us is that this right now, this young minds, young kids, the youth are very much in need of mentors, experts, and authorities. um, why? They need somebody who understands their challenges, whether it's on a social level, on an academic level, mental, emotional, right? Whichever level, they need somebody who knows them, who understands their behavioral patterns, their psychology, their mindsets, basically all the human dynamics, not just somebody who knows a whole lot of theory and has a certificate. So I've been doing this now for more than 20 years. I've watched the traditional, ways of working with our youth really fail, because whether it's from academics or emotional perspective, I find that, I've worked with over 100, almost 150,000 young minds. I've worked with Olympians, I've worked with magistrates, judges. And what I found is most people like to treat or work on symptoms instead of actually, going and finding the root causes. And the most important thing this generation needs right now, young minds, the youth, and everybody working with them, is emotional intelligence. They need to know EQ. They need to, have the right kind of emotional intelligence skills. Now, emotional intelligence is broken up into four parts. The first two is about the self-awareness, right? Being aware about everything about yourself. The second part is about self-management, self-regulation, right? How to manage yourself, your states, your thoughts, your language, all of that. And the second two parts of the four that makes up emotional intelligence is the social aspect. So social awareness and social management, like leadership and being able to communicate, these kind of things. So in a nutshell, the four things that make up emotional intelligence is self-awareness, self-regulation, and then social awareness and social management. So I'm going to be running a 12-week Zoom masterclass that starts on the 12th of April. It's going to be for every Sunday night at, at 8 p.m. and runs for around about 90 minutes. It's my annual masterclass program that I run globally, right? I've now accredited and certified over 1,200. I've been very blessed, to have had this experience of certifying and accrediting over 1,200 coaches, that's locally and internationally. So I'm really looking forward to, seeing you on this training. If you're interested in more information, pop me a message with coaching or authority coaching, and I'll send you a longer video talking about the I6 authority coaching. It'll be an info and intro. There's a video and there's some PDFs as well that tells you a little bit about, the coaching industry, where we're heading. So if you're really, interested and, you really want to work with young minds, people that right now are having the most amount of challenges and issues, send me that message and I'll send you the private roadmap of how this program works. And like I said, right in the beginning, my very first few words, the world doesn't need another coach. What it needs an authority. It needs experts that, understand young minds, teenage minds, and the youth. So get in touch, send me a message, and I'll send you further information if you're interested, especially if you want to use, coaching and your experience as a side hustle. Right now, a lot of people are looking for, multiple streams of income, and this can be done 2 or 3 hours in a week. So pop me a message and let me know. My number is 083 786 9657. My email address is Junaid at acceleratedlearning.co.za. I'll spell it out, Junaid at AcceleratedLearning.co.za. That's Junaid at acceleratedlearning.co.za.